Hey, how you doing, everyone? Thank you so much for being here with us this evening. We have a lot of great things happening and a lot of great things that's going on. We actually are doing this live event tonight with 100 Black Fathers in correlation with Amplify Action and Black with No Chaser. I have the distinct pleasure and honor of working with and leading the crew with Amplify Action. We're a nonprofit organization focused on building power within marginalized communities through the mobilization of Black men. And that's what this event is all about tonight. I want to introduce a great man, a great father, Mr. Tyrus Kennedy. He is married with 5 beautiful children. He's a podcaster, a video content creator, a writer, and the lead interviewer for Black with No Chaser, their sports series. He's currently in the Houston area, and he will be our host for tonight. Tyrus, you got it, man.
Hey, how you doing, man? How you doing, Brandon?
Good.
Thank you for that awesome introduction, man. I really appreciate it. And I just wanted to start off by saying it's a real honor and a pleasure, being here doing this, being a part of something as important as this that we're undertaking. So again, thank you for the introduction. As Brandon said, we are here discussing the importance of Black fathers as it concerns raising our children, as well as our participation in everyday life, voting, politics, and we're going to dive into this conversation. And doing that with me are two fantastic people who I'm about to introduce to you. The first person I want to introduce is Mr. Christopher Emmanuel. He is a radio host at WNRR Gospel 93.3. He's an executive director of Sky is the Limit Foundation, whose work in this arena has been highlighted by the New York Times, by the Atlantic Journal, as well as ABC Nightline News. I'm looking forward to really talking with him. And my second panelist is Mr. Dion Taylor. He is an NAACP Image Award nominated Sacramento Filmmaker of the Year winner. He's a writer, he's a filmmaker, he's a director. He's also the founder of the independent production company Hidden Empire Film Group. And like I said, both of these guys are really professional guys. They're really, strong-willed, intelligent, knowledgeable Black men who's all about empowering other Black men. So
Absolutely.
I'm really looking forward to this.
Same. Hey, and this is exciting, man. Both of these guys, I look up to them. Chris is my little brother, but I look up to him. His story is amazing, and this is going to be a great panel.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. So they should be on in just a second. While we're waiting, and I got you here, Brandon. Um, like you said, I'm a father. Are you a father as well?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can hear mine in the background now. For a second, I had to run and get them quiet, but I'm the father of 3. I got 2 girls and a boy. They're now 4-year-old, 5-year-olds, and 6 years old. And we are here doing the whole, virtual learning and keep them occupied and engaged during this age of COVID-19.
Yes.
But what about yourself? I know you got 5.
So yeah, I do have 5. I have one. She's a sophomore in college. I also have one. She's a senior in high school.
Yeah.
And then I have a 12-year-old and 2 9-year-olds. So
wow.
Needless to say, I stay busy, man.
Absolutely. More ways than one. Hey, there's brother Dion. How you doing? Welcome.
I'm good. How you guys doing, man?
Great. Thank you for making the time to be with this. This is an honor, to say the least.
Oh man, thank you for having me, man. I ain't doing nothing. No, we over here working, man. Anything I could do, man, where we could, obviously all link up and have conversation, man. I'm down for it.
Awesome.
Oh yeah. So, while we're waiting for our second panelist, man,
Sure.
I tried to give you a great introduction, but I know I didn't do you any justice. So, if you would just give us a quick, introduction about yourself. Let the people know who you are and what you're about, brother.
Oh man, I'm first of all, I'm a black man, but I'm a filmmaker, man. Independent filmmaker. Been working at my craft for just a little bit over 14 years now, man. We've had some really, really good projects come out over the last couple of years, which I'm really proud of. Most recently, we did Black and Blue, which starring Tyrese and Naomi Harris. Did The Intruder, Dennis Quaid, Michael Ealy, and Megan Good. Traffic, Paula Patton, Omar Epps, and I think one that a lot of people remember as Meet the Blacks 2016, Mike Epps, fun spoof comedy. But now this year coming up, it's going to be a great year for us, man. We have a really big film with Hilary Swank and Michael Ealy coming out called Fatale. And we're actually setting the stage right now to do the Harlem Globetrotters movie with Sony. So we're just keeping it moving, man, making sure that we're making content that pushes the culture forward, making sure we make things that we see ourselves, in a really good light. Obviously, we also created Be Woke Vote, which is one of the biggest voter registration brands out right now. So we're currently really, really at war with that, man, with trying to make people get out, go vote, and get rid of the old slave mentality that your vote doesn't count. Or the old mentality that they're both bad, don't pick neither one of them.
Right.
So we're right now currently in close to 28 different markets, and we're pushing really hard, man. We have people in the streets and rat vehicles and radio going, and that's what I'm really about right now, man, is just trying to make sure that we are unlearning some of the things that we were taught a long time ago.
Right. That's and you are correct, man. One thing about Black folks, we have our traditions, man, that good or bad traditions and trauma that gets passed down from, generation to generation. So it's up to us to break that cycle and those circles and, make life better for, our offspring and their offspring.
That's right.
So we here, man. Let's get into it, man. So it's October, it's getting cold, man, and this is especially down south, man. This is gumbo season,
Yeah.
And you got gumbo, you got a little bit of this, a little bit of that, different ingredients that you mix together to make this pot of gumbo what it is.
Right.
And and I want to look at us as Black fathers as a pot of gumbo. And when I say that, I want each one of you to, just take a second to tell me, what are some of the ingredients, that make good fathers and great fathers? I'll start with you, Brandon.
Okay, and I'm not as deep south as you, from Mississippi, but down in the low country of South Carolina, we talk about frogmore stew. So it's a little bit of the thing. But for me, like I said, I got 3, 4, 5, and 6-year-old kids. And when my wife told me that we were pregnant, everything changed. I felt like it wasn't just a chemical shift in my brain, but it was a spiritual shift from the inside out, right? And I had to learn a lot because I was graduating college and she was a senior in college when we first got pregnant. But I had to learn a new level of patience. I also had to find mentors and models of the type of father I wanted to be. A lot of people know this, but my father, since I was 3 months old, he's been in jail and he's now serving a life sentence. So I've only really spent time with my dad in between, him getting out and going back in, maybe a full year of my life. Was with him. So, I kind of picked a little bit in pieces from all the men in my life and asked a lot of questions. So being able to have those real conversations, like I don't talk to my kids like they're children. I have real conversations with them, because they come to me with some real stuff.
Right.
On YouTube, which we don't do anymore. But when brother George Floyd was murdered, my oldest daughter saw it on YouTube and asked me why the cops killed that man. And I had to have that conversation with her, just a couple months ago. So, our kids are exposed to a lot more than we can even protect them from. So having that patience, having that foresight, and being willing to be mentored and take the best of everyone around you and invest it in your kids. That's what I look at.
Indeed. Oh yeah, man. It takes a strong brother to continue to do what you're doing, consider the circumstances, man. And that's one of the circumstances that a lot of brothers have come up through. That's why the mothers are so important to us, because a lot of times for a lot of us that's all we had.
That's right.
So I'm a kick it over to you, Dion. You can keep going with piggyback off of what Brandon said.
I was just gonna say, it's interesting, man. I have 3 kids as well, 2 boys and my daughter who just turned 16. My boys are 4 and 7. But yeah, man, I think like so many of us, dad wasn't in the house early age. I was born and raised in Gary, Indiana. Where you kind of figured it out on your own, man. Most of my family, we was either, I was fortunate enough to be a basketball player for half my life. But a lot of my cousins, a lot of my friends, a lot of my, relatives, sort of the same story, man. Everybody getting locked up or killed, same old thing. I had very, very blessed, man, to have a very strong mother who I was more scared of than the streets. So that kind of that really helped navigate me and my brother. But now, when I look at life with my kids, man, I would have to say the exact same thing he just said, which is we have a very, very authentic relationship with our kids. I am very real. My daughter has been exposed to a lot. Now to watch the kids, if you have teenagers, like it's Snapchat, it's YouTube, it's the school, it's the videos. I mean, you can't stop it from getting in. So a long time ago, you used to be able to lock the door and hope don't nobody come in. Now you got it comes through the TV screen, it comes through the phone, comes through the, whatever the hell device they got is coming through there. So your job now is to truly, man, make sure that you're combating that at every angle, and making sure they know what's real and what's not real, and making sure they know what the results of the things that they're doing now, how that would play out if you go that way, So I think, like I said earlier about the voting thing, a lot of things that we're dealing with, man, we have to unlearn as people. We're I'm first generation family, right? Like I'm married, I have kids. Like I don't, my kids are being raised in an environment I never was in, right? So being able to do that, you are learning all the time. You are kind of being like, damn, okay, I guess I do this. I guess I say that. Oh man, okay, I'll take it, information from someone else. Like, oh, that's a good idea, But it's all the first time. It's all the first time. And I think the biggest thing that I would, add to this, which you was asking, what's the biggest thing you can give as a father? I think it's time. I think it's time. I think it's legitimately time where you sit down, turn the phone off, take the phone from her or him or whatever it is, and really have real conversations. You know what I mean? About what's going on and what matters and what doesn't matter, and do you feel okay? And if somebody pushes you in the corner, do you know what to do? And I find myself having those types of conversations more than I ever have in my entire life. Now that my daughter is, a teenager, and I have to remember, like, damn, did I used to listen to people when they was talking to me? Nope. So I would say it over and over again, and maybe some of the fragments will stick in your head because, like I tell her all the time, one decision will change your entire life. And that one decision could be one split second Did you react the right way or did you react the wrong way? Period. Yo, man, we getting in the car. You want to go? Nah, I think I'm gonna sit this one out. Right? It can be that easy. So I always tell her, listen to your heart, follow your mind, listen to that your gut. There's nothing bigger or better than that. If you feel like you're in an awkward situation, it's because it's an awkward situation. You know what I mean? So just
Right.
having those real conversations, I believe it takes time, and we have to do that. It's never, even in the film business now, where we're fighting to, I'm fighting for time currently as a director, because it's like, oh, they want you on this movie set, or Dion, you got to go away for 6-7 months. Well, we did it what I think the right way. My wife is my producing partner, and when we go make a movie, if I'm shooting Black and Blue in New Orleans, guess what? Everybody on the plane, everybody going to New Orleans. I mean, that's just what it's got to be, man, because we can't be in a situation where I don't have access to you and be able to talk to you. So you're constantly being, schooled by parents to let you know what's going on. It's dangerous out here right now, man. So, we're seeing it every day. And now in, what I call Trump America, it's even more dangerous and it needs even more conversation. You know what I mean? Every day you got to be like, man, George Floyd or Ahmaud Arbery or Breonna Taylor, or, you know what I mean? What's this thing I just seen that most recently just had somebody being lynched on Snapchat. And I'm like, let me look at that. I'm like, okay, that's not real. Here's what they're doing. You know what I mean? Just being able to decipher things, man, to make sure they understand, because you forget now, when your kids are 15, 16 years old, they think they know everything. And sometimes you could be a little lazy and be like, oh, they know it. But no, you got to double back sometimes and be like, hey, come here. Look, I forgot to tell you this. Come here. Let me tell you something real quick. You know what I mean? Like that ain't right. What you thinking, So that's my thought. It would just be about time.
You're right. We do have to put that time in, and we do have to be vigilant, because us Black men, women, children, whomever, we don't get those second and third chances. So we have to stay on top of everything. Now I got Mr. Christopher Emmanuel in. You missed my introduction, man, but I'm glad you're here. So I want to get your take on where we are right now. I was talking about Black men as being the gumbo, Black fathers being the gumbo, and the ingredients that you put in to make a great father. So I want to get your point of view on this.
Yeah, first off, man, glory to God for this breath and this opportunity. It's truly an honor and a privilege being able to serve in this capacity, man. And with that being said, being a dad, being a father, that's the most important job under God. We as men, especially for little girls, we're the standard in which they judge all men. For little boys, as we all know, if you haven't seen a good man, right, what do you know to look forward to? So if you have a child where dad isn't present in the life or isn't there in the life, they'll either do two things. They're either going to be better than their father was, do what their father didn't do, or they're going to be just like their father, So even when we look at holistically and hear that, fatherhood is a crisis, man, fatherhood isn't a crisis. Studies show that there are more fathers involved in the house and outside of the house than society would have us to believe. And that's what we got to really speak on, man. Dads are here. Fatherhood is lit. Fatherhood is thriving. So, when we hear the word fatherhood, yes, it is the key for everything. It is essential, being a dad reinforced the importance of giving back. So when we think about our Heavenly Father, being a dad, it made me realize things about myself that I would have never even realized. It taught me how to be more gentle, because more often than not, we as dads or we as men, we as kings are taught to hold things in. It's okay to cry. It's okay to express yourself. It's okay to feel. You're not a zombie, because when you're able to feel, it teaches you how to guide. You just don't become that emotion. You got to be cerebral in the process. But again, it goes back to showing our children, right? How do we expect our children to do anything that we're not doing? So I took everything that I wanted to be and I put it in a bubble, and I stood in that bubble and I became that bubble. And everything that I didn't want to be or I knew I shouldn't be, I removed it, because children pay attention more to what we do than more than what we say. So when we look at all the issues, all the structural impediments we face, you got the school to prison pipeline, war and poverty, mass incarceration. It all starts with what? Fatherhood. They're building prisons based off of what? The third grade reading proficiency rate. Studies show when fathers are involved in a house, we're able to increase a child's mental stability. They're better off in school. They're better off citizens all around. So fatherhood is key, man. And my last point, I love my daughter. and make sure she's not in here. But when she was ripped from my arms and I wasn't able to feel her warmth, to see her eyes, I wasn't even able to see a belly button. I didn't even know belly buttons fall off, you know? So having that urge and then fighting for it, because she was involved in human trafficking through adoption, through those successes, making sure that other fathers know what to do, what not to do, but just being a voice and providing hope so that we all can be, you know, human optimal performance experts, right? HOPE, providing hope. All we got to do is provide hope, man. Stand on God's word, do what we supposed to do, be the example that we need to be. It don't matter if nobody don't like us. It don't matter what nobody got to say about us. We chosen. You know, this is what it means to be great. You know what I mean? So, you know, I'm hoping I'm answering this question. I don't want to babble and, you know, be misguiding, but fatherhood is essential, man. It is everything, literally.
No, you vibrating on that frequency, Chris.
Oh yeah, man. Yes.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Like, man, you know, if we had time, I could just listen to you tell the story, because I know it goes a lot deeper than what you're saying. Before I move on, I just want to tell like the guys watching in the Zoom room, we will have a breakout conversation following, you know, this broadcast. So please hang around. We'll get a little deeper than what we're broadcasting. Now, earlier, Dion, you brought up a statement. Well, you said a statement. You know, you said that, you know, we are living in Trump's America. And the hot button issue right now is voting. Everybody, you know, getting out to vote, you know, using our right to vote. And, you know, a lot of people say my vote don't count. My vote means nothing. But we've seen the way they are attempting to suppress the vote, that it means something if they're going through all of this to keep it from us. I'm in the Houston area, in a county of Harris County of 4.7 million people. Right now, there's only one place to drop off ballots. So they are working very hard. And, you know, the conversation around voting right now is that it's up to Black women to determine, you know, this election. And, you know, I think that is, you know, unfair to them. And it shouldn't be the conversation. We should be, you know, a part of this conversation, leading this conversation. So with that being said, what are you guys feeling towards, you know, voting? Or, you know, if somebody asks you about voting, what is it that you would tell them about voting as far as its importance, or, you know, what they should do with this right that they have?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, I was, you know, the voting is you know, obviously it's a really big conversation. I'm sure the four of us could sit here and talk till tomorrow about this topic, but, you know, what I'm trying to do and what we're trying to do over here with, you know, with Be Woke Vote, is really just tapping into the hood, man. Go back to the streets that we came from. When I was young, I didn't know nothing about voting, nor did I care. I didn't vote. I didn't vote till I was probably 30, 35 years old. And I was like, oh, that's what you do. Like, I never believed in it. I never knew what it was, you know, and I always thought it was just a presidential election. So what we began to find out is, and what I'm trying to educate and what we're all trying to educate the youth on right now is, if you want to play in the game, then you got to play by the rules. So right now, you're in America. You're not in Africa. You're not in wherever, you know, you're not in Wakanda. You here. And if you want to change rules, the way you change rules in this place is through legislation, period. Period. You can't be like, oh yeah, well, he wrong and okay, so what are you gonna do? Right? So what we're doing right now is we're like, yo, localized voting is your best friend. If you don't know who your police captain is in your hood, then that's your job to go find out who that is, put together community meetings, sit around and figure out who that person is. And if he's messing with everybody in the hood, then y'all got to get together and vote him out, right? You got too many potholes in the street. You could change that. right? Like we don't know this information. So therefore we never react on it. We just leave it like it is. We got too many liquor stores. Well, guess what? You could create a proposition and take them out. All these things are at your disposal, but guess what? Because we have been born in the communities that we've been born in, and we haven't been educated properly on how things actually work, that's been something that they've kept from us for hundreds of years, right? So when you look back on it and you understand, oh yeah, John Lewis and that group, they marched and got their head bust in and set in on counters and all that. Why did they do that? So you could vote? No, not only did they do that so you could vote, they did that so you could actually own the restaurant, right? That's the part we forgetting, right? So all these things is kind of like re-educating people. And like I said, I use the word unlearn. Like we have to unlearn a lot of things that we learned, right? So here's the thing. Most recently, you know, Ice Cube came out 30 days ago and was like, oh man, what you gonna give us? Well, guess what, man? You 3 years and 11 months late with that, right? Like no one asked what they was gonna give us when Hillary Clinton and Trump was running. Wasn't nobody even around, wasn't nobody even present. So I'm not doubting him or putting him down, but I did have the argument. And the argument I had was, you late. You can't do that now. Here's what we need to do. January, let's get this man out first. Let's get our head back on sea level, right? It ain't all right. Biden ain't great, but let's get to the point where we can have somebody that could actually have a conversation and tell us information, right? Once you get to that point, I believe it is now so many people that are awake and up and disgusted and motivated and like, damn, what do we need to do? I believe now you could have real conversations about what's going to happen in 2024, right? So what does that mean? That means the same energy that we put into is LeBron better than Mike? The same energy we put into the chicken sandwich, the same energy we put into the new Travis Scott shoes just came out, all that, we got to actually now shift the focus and be like, yo, the way we root for sports is how we have to deal with politics now as a people. Who are we going to get behind? Who are we endorsing? And here's the thing. We might find that we not Democrat or Republican 2024. We might find a guy we like, yo, that's interesting, man. This cat is a front runner. We like what he's saying. We like what he's doing. We can all rally behind this person because he believes in what we believe in and he's going to fight. If you start moving your vote and you start getting behind people that you feel like could really ride and do something, then that's how politics works. And part of what we're doing is beginning to explain to Generation Z, yo, man, y'all got to get busy. Because when we was out there marching for the George Floyd thing in Sacramento, in LA, and everywhere else we went, guess what? It wasn't nothing out there but 24, 25, 26-year-old kids, 18-year-old kids, 17-year-old kids. I'm like, yo, they active. That's why we got here. It wasn't us. It wasn't, wasn't the 30 to 40-year-olds out there like, oh, we was out there, but it was really the kids that seen that was like, yo, that's not right. I'm going out there. And man, when you 19, 20, you ready to rumble. So that's the energy that we need right now. We need to really push the same way we're talking about fatherhood is the same way we need to push our energy into these young kids so they can continue to spark the nation and move forward and educate us on. You can't. The days are over of us sitting back going, "Oh, they both bad. I ain't voting." Like we can't. Like that's over, man. So now you just keep sitting here doing the same thing over and over again. Conspiracy theories, like no, pick somebody, and then if you feel like these people are not right for you, then you get up and run, or you go do your homework and find out who you think is LeBron James or Michael Jordan or Carmelo Anthony, or who the hell it is you want to root for. Go put them up so we can vote for them.
Oh yeah, I totally I agree with you, man. And I tell people all the time, man. I understand the presidential elections, but that state and local level, that's where the heart of it is, man. That's where we really need to hone in and really focus, because those are the people who affect your day-to-day life the absolute most. You elect your mayors pick your police chiefs pick your officers, so on and so forth. So, we have to really, hone in and pay attention to that and really work from that point of view. So, you know, we're gonna keep it going. I'm gonna kick it over to you, Chris, and get your take on this.
All right, can y'all hear me? All right, perfect. Voting is one language can't describe how important voting is. My grandmother marched and on the march, and I didn't really understand. See, I hope I don't cry, man, but I never really understood what it meant until I went through what I went through and seeing 2020. We're literally living the 1950s in 2020. Just like being down basketball. We're originally down by 80 points, but now we're down by 60 points, right? We still got a long way to go. So many of our forefathers and foremothers died for us to have this opportunity. And when I align it with fatherhood, and we just had this conversation a few weeks ago with Brandon, fathers want rights to their children, but they don't want to utilize the right to vote. Right? There are multiple parts in legislation, all the way up from the Supreme Court, all the way down to the local courts, where these officials are elected that are writing the laws. There are laws that label biracial children as handicapped. Who are the ones writing those laws? We have to speak on and show the importance, how to, and the why to the youth by doing it like our grandfathers and our grandmothers did for us. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a long process, but process means it's not going to, again, it's not going to happen overnight. But for me, in my mind, I owe it to my ancestors who died for us to even be able to utilize social media, for us to be in the same schools. We got to continue to leverage the opportunities. You know what I mean? And excuse my language, but I told one of my young kings, I'm like, you want to have sex and you want to lay it down, right? You want to hit it from every angle, huh? You want to hit it from every angle. Well, that's the same thing when it comes to legislation. We got to hit them at every angle. Even if you don't feel like you should vote, or even if you don't want to vote, you got to. It ain't going to make sense to you right now. But do it for yourself, man. You doing this for your last name. You doing this for your kids, your grandkids, so on and so on. You want to at least be able to put yourself in a position where your kids can say, at least my daddy did everything he could possibly do to ensure that I could have the life I deserve. So again, I think the more appropriate question is, why wouldn't we leverage every opportunity and hit it at every angle? That's it. That's all, man. For real.
I like that analogy, man. I really do. I'm gonna kick it over to you, Brandon, and get your take on this.
Yeah, man, you can tell Chris talked to young kings every day over in that community center, the way he put it. But with me, is how I approach it. Voting is everything. We can't escape it. Every day we're talking to folks about registering to vote, and now we're talking about getting out to vote now that we're registered. And folks still don't trust the system. And just honestly, the system has never proven itself to be trustworthy for us, especially as Black men in America. The reason why we started our organization, Amplify Action, is because so many men, Black men in particular, and I venture to say we're the most targeted demographic in America when it comes to the systematic oppression, the changing the standards or moving the goalposts, as some people would say, and even what has been done over the centuries now, even willing to lose trillions of dollars in revenue and assets just to hold us back from obtaining that thing that they call the American dream. But what we are all fighting for is to be treated as first-class citizens, we're spending our first class money, but we're being treated as third class American citizens, and that's not right. And from my vantage point, the only way we can change that is to start changing the people who are elected to serve us. It's shown us time and time again that there are elected officials across this country who don't believe that Black Lives Matter. They don't believe that Black opportunity is something that should be on the same level or at par with American opportunity. But if we're going to change it, we got to elect the right people into office and remove the folks that is not subscribing to what we see as equality, equity, and fairness and justice, and get their tails up out of there as quickly as possible. And we do that by voting. And just one little quick thing, we registered 29,000 people. When I look at where those people are, that small number, and we're not doing what Be Woke Vote is doing on that scale, but just looking at the small number that we registered, we can impact 13 state representatives across the South. When you start talking about flipping 13 state house seats in some of these southern states, that means changing a state legislator from being dominant and it's having a supermajority of Republicans to now have an equal say. So when we think about business, you always want to break up the monopoly, because when you do that, you make it better for the buyers, right? You can control the price, so they're fighting for you. Our representatives should not be treated as superstars. They should be not treated like celebrities. They should be treated like the people they are, and that's folks who work for us, and they're elected to work for us. And if they're not doing their job, we need to fire them.
Oh yeah, I totally agree, man. I think they get so full of themselves and so receive adulation and a lot of times perks and things of that nature that they lose sight of what they are really there for, which is to serve us, the people that put them there. Now, Brandon, you brought up a number. You said you did 29,000. I believe you just said, and Dion was talking about the amount of people that they registered, and I just want to throw this out to y'all. No matter how big or small the number is, whatever the number is very important. And I'll give you a quick example. The state of North Carolina is one of 20 states where felons can vote, after they serve prison time, after their probation is done with, after parole, all that is complete. But they also, tried to have it where felons could not get their rights to vote back until they paid back all fines and penalties. And they got sued. Civil rights advocates sued them, and recently, I believe September 8th, somewhere up in there, they won. And that win gave 60,000 felons back their rights to vote. Now, all of those 60,000 weren't Black people. But again, this is America. And we all know for sure that, the disproportionate way we are in prison and arrested and locked up, a high majority of those 60,000 were Black people, Black men. And, but by, that in itself will help turn seats like Brandon just said. And that's just how important it is. No matter if it's 600, 6,000 or 60,000, each vote counts, and us as Black men need to get out there and, get with it and make sure we are, doing what we need to do. Man, we could really keep this going for a while, but I just want to. I have one more question for each one of you guys to weigh in on, get your outlook on it. A few months back, I did a talk about Black Fathers Matter, and I just want each one of you guys to just tell me real quickly, for a new father or a father who hadn't been around, what's one of the pieces of advice you would give them?
So I'll get started, and I guess we got to keep this at 30 seconds each response. I see the producers in the back keeping us on task. But the advice I would give a new father would be don't quit. Keep moving forward. You'll feel like you're getting pushed back, but all that is growth. So the harder you push forward, the world is going to push back on you, but keep moving. Don't allow yourself to go one step back. Don't quit.
I would just say this is the most important thing you'll do in your life. There's no price tag on it. It's actually priceless. You can't get it back. You can't slow it down. So whatever it is you have to do to be in that child's life or remain in that child's life, or if you're just a dad starting out, just understand there's nothing more important than your child, period. You're only here for a little bit of time, man. You blink, old man, you blink and it's over. So that would be my advice. You know, I've been blessed, man, to be able to have my teenage daughter and then, you know, go back in and get two more little boys. And every day I'm like looking at them like, damn, man, like they already growing up too fast. I'm like, slow down, man. Like, but it's a blessing, man. So cherish it, respect it, and understand this is something that you will never have the opportunity to have again with that soul. So it's priceless.
Man, I'm gonna tell you like this, man. Document everything. Be intentional and very creative in all your efforts. Document everything. Be intentional and very creative in all your efforts. That's it. That's all.
All right. You know, like Brandon said, man, we got to wrap it up. But I just want to take a second to say, fathers, just do the best you can, man. Don't take no for an answer from, you know, don't let the white noise get to you, man. Do your job and handle your business. I just want to say thank you to Mr. Dion, to Mr. Brandon, to Mr. Chris, as well as everyone who tuned in for this very important talk. On behalf of Amplify Action, AmplifyVote.com, as well as Black with No Chaser, we appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in, and we look to forward this conversation at another time with even more time. So again, thank you all. I'm your host, TK Tyrus Kennedy, and I really enjoyed this, and it was my honor and pleasure talking to each and every one of you. Thank you.
And join us on the Zoom conversation for all the fathers. Join us on Zoom. Hit the link. We're about to do these breakout rooms. It's going to be great in-depth conversation. So don't leave us. Join us on the Zoom.
Thank you guys so much, man. Nice to meet everyone too, man. Congratulations on everything. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. And much success to you, Dion.